Chapter 21. Monday morning, Elisa was in her office even before Peggy showed up for work. When her young assistant arrived, Elisa handed her a list of the personal things she needed Peggy to take care of for her. "I'm sorry, Peggy. I really don't like asking you to do all this stuff for me," Elisa apologized. "I know it's not really gay news related, but I guess we could stretch the validity of it by rationalizing that the anchor woman will go out of her mind if she doesn't get her personal life in order." Peggy glanced at the handwritten list. "It's not a problem at all, Miss Blake. Really, I'm happy to do it." "Thank you, Peggy. You are a doll, and I promise that I'll keep this sort of thing to a minimum. You've just come aboard at a particular chaotic time, but could you start calling around and find the best employment agencies that handle housekeepers in northern New Jersey and have them send over some prospective candidates? Schedule the interviews around the other things in my book." Peggy nodded her curly covered head and started back toward her desk. "And Peggy?" "Yes," she answered eagerly, turning to face her boss again. "Please call me Elisa. You make me feel so old when you call me Miss Blake." The younger woman smiled, and Elisa noticed her cheeks blush a bit. It was not the first time they had had this exchange. Peggy was so respectful, and Elisa liked her for it. But Elisa wanted Peggy to know that, young as her assistant was, Elisa considered her to be a colleague. They would be working very close together over the months to come, and Elisa felt it was important to both of them that they be on a first-name basis. Besides, there was only 12-year age difference between them. She could be Peggy's older sister. Elisa watched Peggy as she walked out of the office and tried to remember what being 22 had been like, fresh out of the journalism and political science departments at the University of Rhode Island. Elisa had graduated with high hopes and some trepidations. She wasn't naive enough to think that following her dream to work in broadcast journalism was going to be a walk in the park. Though glamorous and romantic to outsiders, it was an extremely competitive field. But since she was 12 years old, that was all she had ever really wanted to do. The dozen years since college graduation had constantly rewarded her professionally, first working in local television, then going on to the network. It was the private part of her life that had had its share of ups and downs. Sarah Morton's last letter crossed Elisa's mind. Another 12 years old beaten with the television news bug, fighting in a cockroach fight against a brutal disease. Elisa reached for the phone and called Peggy on the intercom. "When is Sarah Morton scheduled to come in, Peggy?" "Tomorrow morning at 11:30, Elisa." The last word did not come out easily, and Elisa could sense it. But she was glad that Peggy was right. "Do I have a lunch engagement?" "No, you're actually free for lunch tomorrow." "Great. Would you make a reservation for 3 at Jekyll and Hyde's? I'd like to take Sarah and her father out for lunch after the tour." Of all the them restaurants around 57th Street, the Cali and High Club was probably the most amusing. Kids loved the suspenseful atmosphere, and at least the hamburgers were pretty good. Elisa hoped Sarah would be up to eating one.